The Paradox of Progress: How Black Women's Entrepreneurship Reveals America's Broken Promise. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on this stage where ideas have the power to transform our understanding of the world. I stand before you humbled and electrified after my recent conversation with Vicki Johnson, whose revolutionary research on Black women entrepreneurs has completely shattered conventional wisdom about success, resilience, and innovation in America's business landscape. Vicki Johnson isn't just a researcher, she's a visionary whose work illuminates the dark corners of our economic systems that most prefer to ignore. Her fearless dedication to amplifying the voices of Black women business owners and her relentless commitment to creating pathways for sustainable economic empowerment has established her as one of the most transformative voices of our generation. Her research doesn't just document reality, it demands we confront it, challenge it, and ultimately transform it. What I'm about to share with you today comes directly from my profound conversation with Vicki, and it represents a stunning contradiction in our economic narrative, one that challenges everything we think we know about entrepreneurship, opportunity, and progress in America. Here's a statistic that might astonish you: Black women are starting businesses at 6 times the national average. 6 times. Let that sink in for a moment. When I first heard this from Vicki, I reacted the way many of you might right now, with excitement and admiration. What an extraordinary success story, I thought. This must be a sign of tremendous progress and opportunity in America. But then comes the contradiction that changes everything, the revelation that shatters the comfortable narrative we've been telling ourselves. At the same time, Black women are launching businesses at this historic rate. They're also facing disproportionate unemployment and leaving the traditional workforce in record numbers. Their unemployment rate is nearly double that of white women and Asian women. This isn't just a curious statistical anomaly. This is a profound revelation about the true nature of opportunity in America. What looks like entrepreneurial triumph on the surface may actually be, in many cases, entrepreneurship born of desperation rather than choice. It's not just that Black women are choosing to start businesses, it's that many are being forced to create their own opportunities because traditional doors remain firmly closed. This insight from Vicki Johnson completely reframes how we should understand the surge in Black women's business ownership. It's not simply a celebration of opportunity, it's also a response to exclusion. Think about that for a moment. The very statistics we've been celebrating as evidence of progress might actually be evidence of persistent barriers. The entrepreneurial success stories we applaud may actually reveal how deeply our systems continue to fail. When I spoke with Vicki about this dual reality, she emphasized that this doesn't diminish the extraordinary achievements of Black women entrepreneurs. Rather, it contextualizes their success within systems that continue to present unique challenges based on both race and gender. Their triumphs are even more remarkable given the obstacles they face. But we shouldn't mistake individual success for systemic progress. Let me share with you 3 key insights from my conversation with Vicki that help explain this phenomenon. First, while Black women are indeed leading the way in entrepreneurship, starting businesses at that remarkable rate, 6 times higher than the national average, this growth often comes as a response to exclusion from traditional employment opportunities. When doors are closed in one arena, Black women are creating doors of their own. They're not just entrepreneurs by choice, many are entrepreneurs by necessity. Second, systemic barriers in the labor market, including racial and gender discrimination, continue to impact Black women's employment prospects. The unemployment rate for Black women is nearly double that of white women and Asian women, creating a push factor toward entrepreneurship that isn't always acknowledged in our success narratives. We celebrate their businesses without addressing why starting a business became their only viable path to economic security. Third, support networks, advocacy, and policy reforms are essential for sustaining Black women's success in business. Without these, gains in entrepreneurship may not translate into long term economic security or equity. Individual triumph is not enough. We need systemic transformation. To understand these dynamics more concretely, let me share some powerful stories Vicki discussed during our interview that bring these statistics to life. Consider B. Dixon, founder of the Honey Pot Company. This Black woman owned feminine hygiene brand has achieved national distribution in major retailers like Target. But Dixon's path wasn't smooth. It was littered with obstacles that many entrepreneurs never face. She encountered significant skepticism from investors who questioned whether a Black woman could build a national brand. She faced limited access to startup capital despite a solid business plan. She weathered pushback from competitors who weren't accustomed to seeing someone who looked like her in their industry. How did Dixon overcome these barriers? She leveraged community support, creating a loyal customer base that advocated fiercely for her products. She developed targeted marketing to underserved consumers who had been ignored by mainstream brands. She participated in accelerator programs specifically focused on women of color, finding the mentorship and networks that traditional business channels had denied her. The result? The Honeypot Company secured coveted shelf space in major retailers, raised millions in investment, and built tremendous brand recognition. Dixon started the company after her own health struggles, recognizing a gap in the market for natural products for women of color. Her success has inspired a wave of Black women entrepreneurs in consumer goods. But here's what we must understand: Dixon's journey included obstacles that many other entrepreneurs simply don't face. Her success came despite the system, not because of it. And while we should absolutely celebrate her triumph, we must also question why her path had to be so much harder. Or consider Jewel Burke Solomon, co founder of Part Pick. This company developed visual recognition software for identifying replacement parts and was eventually acquired by Amazon. A remarkable success by any standard. But Burke Solomon experienced tremendous difficulty raising venture capital as a Black woman founder. She faced skepticism about the viability of her technology that had nothing to do with its actual potential and everything to do with who was presenting it. Her solution? She built a strong team that complemented her skills. She participated in pitch competitions to gain visibility outside traditional venture capital networks. She specifically sought out Black tech investor networks when mainstream funding channels remained closed. Parpic was acquired by Amazon in 2016, and Burke Solomon became a prominent advocate for Black women in tech entrepreneurship. Her journey was inspired by her experience working in parts sales, where customers struggle to identify the correct components. Her success has highlighted the importance of representation and mentorship for Black women in technology. But again, her path included hurdles that were directly related to her identity as a Black woman. A third powerful example Vicki shared was Morgan DeBaun, founder of Blavity Inc. This media company created by and for Black millennials now reaches millions with digital content and events. DeBon faced the challenge of building a scalable media brand in a competitive industry with limited access to traditional media funding. Her approach? She focused on authentic storytelling that mainstream media overlooked. She built community engagement that created fierce loyalty among her audience. She developed innovative digital strategies to grow her audience when traditional channels weren't available. Blavity raised over $10 million in funding and expanded into conferences and technology, solidifying its place as a leading Black owned media platform. DeBon started Blavity to fill a glaring gap in media representation and create a platform for Black voices that weren't being heard. The company has become a launch pad for Black creatives and entrepreneurs, reshaping the digital media landscape. But like the others, her success came despite, not because of, the existing systems. These stories are remarkable. They showcase extraordinary talent, vision, and determination. But they also reveal something deeper and more troubling about our economic systems. In my conversation with Vicki Johnson, she emphasized that these success stories shouldn't blind us to the structural realities that make entrepreneurship more necessary and more challenging for Black women. The very fact that Black women are starting businesses at such high rates while simultaneously experiencing higher unemployment points to a fundamental contradiction in our opportunity structure. This brings us to a critical question. What does true progress look like? Is it enough to celebrate Black women's entrepreneurship without addressing the conditions that make traditional employment less accessible? Is it sufficient to applaud individual success stories without examining the systems that create unequal starting points? Vicki Johnson's research suggests that real progress requires both celebrating achievements and confronting barriers. It means recognizing that entrepreneurship can be both an expression of agency and a response to exclusion. For Black women in what we call their soft girl era, that sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival mode and reclaim joy, rest, and freedom. Entrepreneurship often represents both opportunity and challenge. It's a chance to create on their own terms, but it also comes with the weight of navigating systems not designed with them in mind. As Vicki shared with me, the surge in Black women's entrepreneurship reveals both their extraordinary resilience and the persistent inequities they face. It's a testament to their ability to create opportunity where little exists, but also a call to address the conditions that make such creation necessary. This understanding transforms how we must approach supporting Black women entrepreneurs. It's not just about celebrating their businesses, though that celebration is absolutely warranted. It's about dismantling the barriers that make entrepreneurship a necessity rather than a choice for many. It means addressing discrimination in hiring and promotion. It means expanding access to capital beyond the networks that have historically excluded Black women. It means creating support systems that recognize the unique challenges Black women face at the intersection of race and gender. The stories of the Honeypot Company, Part Pick, and Blavity show what's possible when Black women entrepreneurs receive the support they need. But they also highlight how exceptional such support currently is. Imagine what would be possible if that support were the rule rather than the exception. Imagine the innovations, the jobs created, the wealth generated if Black women entrepreneurs had equal access to capital, networks, and opportunities. So I leave you today with this challenge. How will you use your influence, resources, or platform to actively support and invest in the growth of Black women entrepreneurs? Beyond words and hashtags, will you examine your hiring practices and address the biases that push Black women out of traditional employment? Will you invest in Black women owned businesses and provide the capital they need to scale? Will you mentor Black women entrepreneurs and open doors that have historically been closed? The true measure of our progress isn't just how many businesses Black women start, it's whether those businesses have the same opportunity to thrive as any other. It's whether entrepreneurship is a choice rather than a necessity. It's whether we finally dismantle the systems that have forced Black women to create their own opportunities because we've denied them equal access to ours. This is our collective responsibility. This is the work before us. And it begins not with celebration, but with confrontation of our systems, our biases, and our complicity in maintaining barriers that should have fallen long ago. The paradox of Black women's entrepreneurship isn't just their story, it's America's story. And how we respond to it will determine whether we truly believe in the promise of equal opportunity for all. Thank you.